Yes, you can support electrical metallic tubing or running around a junction box using all thread and a mini. This can be a quick and effective method of providing additional support to the conduit in areas where it may be exposed to significant loads or other potential hazards. To install the support, firstly, drill a hole through the junction box and into the framing behind it. Secondly, cut a length of all thread to the desired length, allowing for a few inches of excess on each end. Thirdly, thread a mini onto one end of the all thread and screw it into the hole in the junction box. Fourthly, position the EMT alongside the junction box and slit the other end of the all thread through the conduit. Fifthly, thread another mini onto the all thread and screw it into the EMT. Sixthly, tighten the minis to secure the conduit in place. Piggybacking support is sometimes common to piggyback support off existing material in the surrounding area, such as adjacent beams, rafters, or conduit. However, it is important to ensure that the existing material is strong enough to support the additional weight. Factors to consider when piggybacking support include the strength of the existing material. The material should be strong enough to withstand the additional load without buckling or bending. Also consider the location of the support. The support should be placed where it will provide the most benefit in terms of preventing the conduit from sagging or being damaged. And also consider code compliance. Some jurisdictions may have specific requirements regarding the use of piggyback support. It is important to check with local building codes before installing any support. Generally, piggybacking support is not recommended for large or heavy conduit runs. Instead, it is better to use dedicated support systems such as strut channel or unistrut. When considering supporting EMT conduit, it's crucial to adhere to the National Electrical Code, or NEC, and local regulations. The NEC provides guidelines for proper installation and support of electrical systems to ensure safety and prevent hazards. Section 300.11 of the NEC addresses securing and supporting wiring and cables, including EMT. It emphasizes that wiring methods must be securely fastened in place. This means that EMT conduit must be properly supported to prevent it from sagging or becoming dislodged. The NEC specifies the maximum intervals at which EMT conduit must be supported. These intervals vary depending on the size of the conduit. For example, for 1/2 inch to 1 inch EMT, supports must be placed at intervals not exceeding 10 feet. For larger sizes of EMT, the maximum support intervals may be greater. Refer to NEC Table 344.30. They 2 for specific requirements. When using all thread and minis to support EMT around a junction box, ensure that the all thread is securely fastened to both the junction box and the conduit. The mini should be tightened properly to provide adequate support. It's also essential to use appropriate hardware that is listed for the intended purpose. If piggybacking support off existing structures, carefully assess the strength and stability of the existing structure. Make sure that it can handle the additional load of the conduit without compromising its structural integrity. Consult with a qualified engineer if necessary. Additionally, be aware of any local amendments or interpretations of the NEC that may apply to your area. Local building codes may have specific requirements regarding the support of EMT conduit, so it's essential to check with the local authorities before starting any electrical work. Using strut channel or unistrut systems offers several advantages for supporting EMT conduit. These systems provide a versatile and adjustable solution for creating strong and reliable supports. Strut channels can be easily cut to length and assembled using various fittings and accessories, allowing for customized support configurations. They also offer excellent load-bearing capacity, making them suitable for supporting heavy conduit runs. When installing strut systems, ensure that they are properly anchored to the building structure. Use appropriate fasteners and anchors that are rated for the intended load. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for installation and spacing of supports. In addition to providing physical support, proper grounding and bonding of EMT conduit is essential for electrical safety. The NEC requires that EMT conduit be effectively grounded to provide a lower impedance path for fault currents. This helps to protect against electrical shock and prevent equipment damage. Ensure that all conduit connections are tight and secure to maintain electrical continuity. Use appropriate grounding bushings and bonding jumpers to connect the conduit to the grounding system. Refer to NEC Article 250 for detailed requirements on grounding and bonding. When working with electricity, always follow safe work practices to minimize the risk of electrical hazards. To energize circuits before working on them whenever possible. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, such as gloves and eye protection. Be aware of potential hazards such as exposed wires and energized equipment. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a licensed electrician to do the job. Working with electricity can be dangerous, so it's always best to err on the side of caution. Remember that proper support of EMT Conduit is essential for the safety and reliability of electrical systems. By following the guidelines in the NEC and using appropriate support methods, you can ensure that your conduit installations are safe, secure, and compliant with regulations. Always prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals when necessary. For example, when installing EMT in a commercial building, consider using a combination of all thread supports and strut systems to provide comprehensive support. In areas where conduit runs along walls or ceilings, use strut channels to create a continuous support system. Attach the conduit to the strut channels using appropriate clamps and fasteners. In areas where conduit needs to be suspended from the ceiling, use all thread rods to hang the strut channels from the building structure. Make sure that the all thread rods are securely anchored to the ceiling and that the strut channels are properly supported. Pay attention to the spacing of supports to ensure that the conduit is adequately supported throughout its length. Follow the NEC guidelines for maximum support intervals. When running EMT around junction boxes or other equipment, use all thread and minnows to provide additional support. Drill holes in the junction boxes or equipment enclosures and attach the all thread using appropriate hardware. Secure the conduit to the all thread using minnows or other suitable fasteners. By combining different support methods, you can create a robust and reliable conduit installation that meets the requirements of the NEC and local building codes. Always double-check your work to ensure that all connections are tight and secure. A loose connection can cause electrical problems and pose a safety hazard. If you're unsure about any aspect of the installation, consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector. They can provide guidance and ensure that your installation is safe and compliant. Remember, electrical safety is paramount. Always prioritize safety when working with electricity.